And now, the Android Basics segment. This is a segment where we discuss the things that power your device from behind the scenes. And now, here's this week's episode, Android Basics.
And now we turn to our Android Basics section. As I said at the start of the episode, we are going back to some of the app categories we looked at 2 or 3 years ago to see what's changed. Obviously, new apps come on stream all the time. Other apps will have got updates. Some will have broken. Some will have got better. And this week, we are going to look at text editors. Warren, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so talking about text editors, like you said, Ed, we started this category like 3 years ago, and we dealt with those text editors, and a lot has changed, and yet in the same breath, not a lot has changed. Kind of hard to explain what I'm talking about, but I'm looking at Google Keep, for example, guys. I don't know if I'm just dreaming or whatever is going on at my end, but I think that Google Keep has gone from good to bad or bad to worse, because was it last summer or the summer before, either the summer of 2023 or last summer 2024, for some reason we've been having that problem with Google Keep Notes, where if you're taking down a note and you want to go back, deleting something, for example, and your screen reader is not reporting what is being deleted at all. Has it changed? Has it changed at anyone's end, or it's just it's just at my end? Sally, has it changed at your end, or it's still a good old same old?
For me, it's the same old Google Keep. The only thing is, like, back in summer 23, I remember it was crashing for me when I wanted to delete a letter, and now it's not crashing, but it's not saying anything. That's really getting on my nerves.
I haven't used it for a while, but I know the reason I stopped was not the deleted character thing. It was something like more annoying than that. But I don't even remember what it was. Hopefully they fixed it, whatever it was.
Was it maybe about actions or something like that? I don't know. Does it even support actions?
It never had an action, so
it's the Google app, so no, it doesn't support action.
Here's the problem, because we've got Keep Notes for quite a while, right? So I have lots and lots of, hundreds of notes in that app, and it's like the Kindle books where we were talking about. You have a lot of books in there, and then it's not behaving well, and yet a lot of your life is wrapped up in there, and you're trying to figure out a way of trying to exporting this thing to the other editor, for example, and you're not finding an easier way of doing it, and it's just like an old habit, especially with me. So I try to use UpNotes, for example. However, now and then I find myself, taking notes in the Google Keep Note. Then I realize later on, oh no, this thing is not behaving well. And so what I've been doing of late is if I save something to Keep Notes, I also save it to UpNote, or even save it in Pocket, for example, if it's a URL that I'm saving. And so it becomes a problem because you're juggling 2 things or 3 things just to accomplish a simple task. And to me, I think that's a no-no. If Google could fix that, I think that would be neat, because the reason why we love the Keep Notes is not because it has anything extraordinary that other ones do not have, but it's that instantaneous synchronization between different devices is what makes people want to use the Keep Notes. At least for me, that's one of the selling points of the Keep Notes. Other than that, frankly, I probably will be throwing that thing to the dogs the way it is right now.
Yeah, I just use an app called Simple Text Editor, and there's no syncing, there's no nothing. It's literally, in the title, Simple Text Editor. It's like an edit field that is going to behave, because in Android you never know, like with these edit fields, especially if they try to use web views for whatever reason, it's going to be more annoying than anything else. And I just want an edit field that when I type in it, especially with the Braille keyboard, because that can be even more finicky than Gboard, like I just want it to work all the time, and I don't want any issues. And then if I have to share, I just save it as a TXT file, and then I share it to whatever other device I want to edit it on. Like, to me, it's worth it just to be able to type like you should be able to type, without coming across any weird issues.
So for you, it has to do with the typing experience, how the typing is going on. And I think that should be for everyone, really, because when we're typing something, you want that good experience, right? That's what it is. And if I'm not getting a good typing experience, then it's time to look for something else. But the synchronization, of course, is a second thing that comes through if you are someone that is going to be using it on other different devices. But most of the time, probably a lot of people don't have multiple devices that they want to view their notes on. And so this would be perfect. But in a place where we have, the computer, most people have the computer, have a phone, and you want to be able to just see those things right in there. And that's why this thing is good. But then with the behavior that it has, it's a problem. And talking along those lines, though, guys, how about the Keep Notes sister? What's that thing? Docs. That's a big elephant in the house. We need to talk about that big elephant.
I got things to say about it because I've got a tablet that I use it with a Bluetooth keyboard. So if you're using Google Docs with a keyboard, the experience is awesome. I should say that. But when you're in a touch screen and when you want to do text editing, things go worse and you don't know where you are. You cannot really move through items. But if you're using a keyboard, it's really great experience. So you can even add headings, links, all sorts of formatting to your text. But this is not the case with using on your phone with a touch screen. So it's definitely a good experience if you're using with a keyboard. But in the other hand, no.
So in other words, Sally, this thing is intended or primarily meant to be used with a keyboard. And I can see why, because when we look at Google Docs, we're looking at, hey, Microsoft, I'm looking at you. The whole idea was to try to give people an alternative way of managing things that are coming from Word, or if you don't have Word or anything of that sort. And so it would be no wonder that the keyboard support is better than what we have on the touch screen, because even with Microsoft Word on the touch screen, it's not very intuitive, is it? I've kind of been struggling with Word on my device because the experience is not as what you have on the computer. So they all seem to be not paying all that much of an attention to what happens on the touch screen. And I think that's where the problem lies, especially when you don't have a keyboard with you at that particular given time.
So speaking of Google Docs, if you're using with a keyboard, it has a lot of keyboard shortcuts, even on your Android phone. So it's pretty good experience if you can use those shortcuts to insert headings, insert links, insert formattings, bold, italics, all this stuff. It's really helpful if you're using with a keyboard. But as I told you, on a touch screen, none of them works, unfortunately. Even if you want to read what's written, it's worse.
So
I use it with a touch screen, and it's odd, but I can do most things. Like, you just have to remember, like, for whatever reason, when you navigate, it kind of navigates as if you're using a keyboard, like, or as if you're in Windows or something. Like, if you go, like, say you go do the gesture to go to the next paragraph, then it will put you at the beginning of the paragraph and read that paragraph. Whereas, like, normally TalkBack will put the cursor at the end of the paragraph that it just read to you. So you just have to remember, like, it's odd, like, it just behaves differently. And especially with selecting things, you have to remember how it behaves, because it behaves completely different than TalkBack normally behaves. But I am able to do most things with it. But yeah, now that you mentioned the keyboard, I'm gonna start using the keyboard because it sounds like it would be much faster than like, actually bringing up the style controls and selecting heading and all that. Because I do that with the touchscreen.
And do you still have to navigate by using reading controls? Because I think you did in an edit field last time I looked at it. Like you need to like set reading controls, say to lines, and navigate by line. You can't swipe.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's sort of the case, isn't it?
And it actually does work with the Braille keyboard too, which is kind of nice. So like if you're in the Braille keyboard, it'll even like select by words or select by lines. You just same thing applies though. You have to remember that the behavior is different. Like, but yeah, the one thing that is a constant problem for me is what it won't do is copy. And you have to actually open the menu, go to selection controls, and then hit copy because it won't, like doing the copy gesture just doesn't work even if you've selected something. So that is the big like glaring issue. I'm sure the keyboard shortcut works for it, or Salo would have mentioned that. But so yeah, it's definitely, although it's doable, I think with a touchscreen, it takes way longer than it should.
And I think probably the reason why it's not allowing you to copy is because unlike UpNote or some other editors, for example, when you open up the a note or whatever the text that you want to manage, just touching the edit field, the active edit field, the whole thing, in most cases, the whole thing is read to you. And so, for example, so if I just use word navigation and I'm, navigating by word and I navigate to the word blind, and I should just be able to invoke the copy to copy it. But so with Google Docs, that is not the case. It's like Ed says, you've got, and you've also indicated, John, either you got to read by paragraph, read by lines or whatever. Now, my question is, if I'm reading by lines or by words or whatever, would it allow me, though, to kind of just select that and then use the copy gesture? Would it work or not?
No, so you can, like you would say there's a certain paragraph you want to copy, you'd change to reading mode to paragraph. So you'd swipe down till you got to the paragraph, and then you turn on selection mode, and then you swipe down one more time and it would select that paragraph. But then from there, you can't just hit copy. You have to like actually open the menu, go to selection control, and then hit copy.
That's really bad. No? I think it is.
So
Yeah, it's annoying.
if you're using that on a keyboard, you just use the arrow keys, just like on your text editor on Windows. Just arrow keys are doing it. And if you want to select anything like Word, you just use
Hold
Control and Shift. Yeah,
Yeah.
select the word.
And then you do Control C to copy.
Yeah,
and
exactly. Control C. Yeah.
Oh, nice. See, that's what I'm saying. They're all intended, or primarily, I think the focus is the keyboard, not necessarily the touch screen. But the touch screen is there because there are times that you don't have a keyboard with you, then you have to use that. But or else, the better experience would be to use that keyboard.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's doable, but it's not. You're not going to want to write a whole document that way. Like when I'm getting ready to publish the podcast and I need to correct your show notes, Warren, I just go in there. If I just need to fix something real quick, I don't need a keyboard because it'll work. I'll figure it out.
But guys, can you imagine a friend of mine, throwing me under the bus for the whole world to hear that I mess up in my show notes? I don't do this often.
To be honest, there have been multiple occasions where I have seen something that I wanted to correct, but I'm like, I'm on my phone. I'm gonna have to correct that with Google Docs. I'll just leave it.
Exactly. So that's the problem. And because, I mean, yes, you can do it, but it takes a little bit more time, right? So maybe something that would take you maybe 5 seconds or whatever. Now it probably will take you about 15 or 20 seconds to be able to do that. Just as you described earlier on, John, you got to select and then you got to go open up the menu to copy. So by the time you do that, someone using the keyboard has long been done and sitting down and drinking his tea. You see, that's where the problem comes.
Yeah, and the biggest problem about that is that you have to know to do it. Like so many people, when they would just get that far and be like, "This doesn't copy," and I guess I can't do that with this app. So like, I had to like even just explore like all the options and stuff just to even figure out that I could copy text that way.
And it's good we're talking about this because what would happen, like you just mentioned, someone that doesn't know that you need to go to XYZ to do this, to make it happen, now will pass this along as gospel that it doesn't work, and or Android doesn't work, or this doesn't work, Android is crap. And these are some of the things that happen. And I'm glad we're talking about this because someone hearing this would know what to do next time if they're encountering such a problem. You got to go into the menu or whatever and find that copy to copy it. And does it do the, and I'm saying this because I haven't been using it for a while, to be honest. I think I quit using Docs a while now because it's just not very good, intuitive.
I will say this because I'm jokingly made fun of Google saying Keep doesn't have actions. There actually are actions in Docs, and they are very useful. Like if you select a word and you swipe through the actions,
Exactly.
you can
exactly.
like create a link, you can edit the link, you can open the link. There's like you can add different things using actions. So it does have actions, and they actually are useful. So and if there is, I don't remember if there is a copy action, but if there is, I tried it and it didn't work. But most actions do work, and they are helpful.
Well, for Google Docs, I only use it with keyboard when I need to do a long writing. And for notes, since Keep Notes has an issue, I was talking with Warren earlier before starting the recording. I'm using Simplenote. This is a great app, but as Warren said, the issue is that I have a lot of notes on Keep Notes, so sometimes I confuse where I wrote that note. Was it on Google Keep or was it on Simple?
And therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
But
Like,
I'm suspecting, though, back to the Docs before you finish that thought, Sally,
mhm.
it will still support the copy the last utterance. For example, if I bring up the talkback menu, right, John? Would it say, for example,
Yeah,
I've selected something and or maybe
yeah,
read by paragraph, it will still support
yeah.
that
That's not
copy?
that's not app dependent.
Yeah.
That'll always work no matter what TalkBack just said. You can always copy that.
So Sally, finish that thing about copying or having notes in several different places, and you were kind of wondering as to where
Yeah,
you kept that particular note,
yeah,
and that's the problem.
being a heavy note taker, I gave up on Google Keep, but still I have a lot of notes on Google Keep. So sometimes I'm really confusing where was that note, and even if you want to search on Google Keep, the same behaviors there, and you don't know what's you're deleting even within the search. Oh my god, this is really too much. And on Simple Note, it's really simple as the name suggests. So I like it there. It also can synchronize between devices, and you can also write notes through your computer, and you can go back and continue on your phone. I like that one.
Something I don't like about Keep Notes is, for example, when I tap on that create new note. Well, you see they have now a new floating or little button there that instead of, where we used to have like buttons at the bottom where you could tap on create text note or create whatever, now is all in one button. You tap that and you choose what you want to create. I like that. But what I don't like is when I tap on create new note, for example, instead of it placing me in the title field, it places me in the body. And so I have to move back to tap on that title because I like organizing my things. I
So
like my notes to have titles.
here's what happens, Warren. Like, if you're locating you to type your notes and but in the body area, what happens with me all the time is I forget to type the title, and when I go back, there's a note without a
Exactly.
title. What is that?
Exactly. And that's why I don't like it. I like those
But if
editors
the
that
note
will
doesn't
place
have the
you in
title,
the title first.
it just shows
Yeah,
you
it
the
shows a long text.
beginning of
Yeah,
yeah.
it shows the
Yeah.
long text of part of your note, and it's better if you have the title. But I forget.
Yeah,
If
because when you're looking to when you're going to search for it, I want to search by title,
yeah,
I don't know. That's one of the weaknesses of notes. If you don't remember to, so I've made it a habit to where I know that the active field, as soon as I tap on that create new node, the active field is the body. Then I'll move, left to the title and put in the title before I move back to that
well, I
body.
think the reason why the body part is active that most people would want to start writing straight away rather than, oh, what should be the title of
Yeah,
my
they
note?
probably have like statistics telling them
Yeah,
that most
yeah.
people don't use titles, so they probably
Well,
change the
like
behavior
you,
intentionally. Yeah,
Warren and I,
That's
as
true.
always, we are the other guys
The
in the game. So
outliers, yeah.
yeah,
Who are the outliers?
yeah.
Yeah, but that is true because most people, I want to take a note. That's all I want to do. Who cares about the
Yeah.
title, right? Whether it's
But
about,
also there's an immediacy, isn't there? Like you want to write that bit of information down now. You might
yeah,
put John's phone number later, but what you want immediately is the number, isn't it? So if you add a title, maybe it is something you do second. It's not like
that's a good point.
yeah.
it is. And then if you forget, and then later on, you don't know who the hell that phone number belongs to. You know, you know? You meet some little nice thing at a bar, out there like the pub that you went to. Ed, I'm not saying you're
You
looking
don't
for.
you don't need to know their names. It's fine. You just ring them anyway and call them
Oh
Doll.
no! Oh no! I don't want to call someone and say, hey, "Who is this?"
You don't say hey Doll, hey babe. Doesn't
Oh
matter.
my!
Names
What if
are
it's a man?
names are. I was going to say secondary, but not even that. Tertiary. Like names are not on the critical path in that phoning
Frankly,
sense.
so because it's like someone that maybe has my number, and then I don't have them, and they call me, and they're all peppy about it, and I don't remember them. It's always embarrassing to me.
What do you want a name for? Like, what are you going to do with it? Like, it's not. Yeah, you don't need it.
Yeah, but I can see what you guys are saying, because when you get a note from someone, or when you're taking a phone number from someone, you always write down the number. But for me, like for example, if it's on a phone app, for example, I always put their name first, and then I could do the last name later on. But the name always. So I guess that kind of makes it a habit to where if I'm doing a note, I want to put in a title because I always want to associate it to the note that I'm taking. It's really interesting that we have this different outlook, but I think you guys are right. Most people don't, and they do it as a thing that you do later on, not the first thing to be done first.
Well, one thing that is good about Google Keep as well is that you can add a shortcut that will take you directly to writing a note. So instead of going to this new and tapping on the text note, for example, you could just add a shortcut to the home screen, and it will just open the text note. So you'll be able to write quickly without spending time on pressing buttons. So it's great. I put it on the dock actually to be always available on the home screen, no matter the page that I'm on. So, and I know the position because it's on the dock, the last item. So whenever I need to type a note quickly, I use Keep. I know it's having its accessibility troubles, but I'm too lazy to go to another one. So I'm still using
Karine,
it.
yeah, there's the thing. Shortcut is something great, and it all says with simple notes. And what is even better is if you're using Nova Launcher, you can assign to a
Assign a
gesture,
gesture.
so you can start it right away. Like I'm using clockwise gesture for it, and it's working perfectly, and it's just directly getting to the typing area to type the note, and that's really working fine. So just try it.
That's good. I have to, but I'm too lazy, you know? Like, I'm used to
I mean,
keep...
remember I was telling you I'm so lazy to set up my launcher, and I got a backup from someone, and I'm moving over it. So should I send you my backup?
Even you didn't do it yourself. Oh my God.
The funny thing is that with Nova Launcher, I have it set the swipe right gesture, which is swiping right with 2 fingers. I have that set to open a web app I have installed of Google News, because I want that. It's funny because like the normal launcher behavior when you swipe right is to bring up Google's like feed thing, but I don't like that because I can't navigate it by heading. So I actually have like a web app of Google News saved, and then when I swipe right, it brings up that web app instead, and like it works perfectly how I want it to.
Yeah, there are a lot of really useful things if you want to just go and try. So rather than calling Android the crap, there are lots of ways if you want to achieve something. So just guys, do it. Don't be afraid.
And that's why we're evangelizing those,
Yeah.
dwelling in the dark. We are all about preaching the good news of Android, right, Sally?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but when there are shortcomings, we should talk about them, and we should state them loud and clear. And the problem with document processing and text editing,
this is bad.
Actually, it's one of the weaknesses on Android. We don't have really a good word processor. Okay, John is able to use docs, but he knows already that the UI is not really good. There are troubles, there are problems. So actually, he's able to use it. For me, actually, I don't bother because I hate Google Docs. I hate the UI. I like that they have actions, but I hate that I used to. I need to use reading controls just to read the document. And actually, even document viewing is sort of broken because, before we were able to open the print view and then we could go to a specific page. Right now, we can't do it. So if you want to navigate to a page, you have to use the tedious paragraph navigation, and just go with paragraphs, go and then move. So this is really not really good. So
I think you can go to the menu and go to where it says go to page, though.
This was available a few years ago. Maybe they removed it since maybe 4 years or 5 years ago. As far as I remember, this is no longer available. So this was one of the omissions. I don't know why they did it, but this was the case. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't find it. So
Sally, is there a keyboard shortcut command in Docs to say go to page? Like we have
there is
control,
a shortcut, but I don't remember what was that.
Control G or something.
Yeah.
Do you want me to connect the keyboard whenever I want to
I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I mean, if we wanted a keyboard, we'd be on our phone, right? I mean, we'd be on our computer.
Exactly.
But while you're mentioning shortcomings, I should mention, because this is one of the more annoying things about Google Docs, is that anytime you leave like the editing of the document for whatever reason, like to go to the menu, like I mentioned earlier, the next time you go back into the edit field, you're like in a random place that's different from where the cursor was before. I don't know why, but it's like never stays where it is, and you have to like start all over again. Like either go do a gesture to go to the beginning of the field or like navigate by paragraph or something, but it never remembers your position. That's probably the most annoying thing about it, honestly.
Here's a radical idea for keyboard shortcuts, though. Have keyboard shortcuts on-screen keyboards. So you press Shift. Okay, you find one with the Control key. You press that, and then you press the letter. How would that be?
I wonder if there's a keyboard app that does that. Now that you mention it, because that's a good idea.
You should do that. Like that's literally how it should work.
Actually, I remember the blind accessibility keyboard used to have those keys, and I think even if you use the PC layout in Gboard, I think also the keys will be available, right? But I don't know if the shortcuts will work.
I wonder if
like
they
this.
work. We should try that. It should work.
I don't know.
That'd be good, isn't it?
But it's still it still takes time. I mean, yeah,
I know, but at least they'd
I
be there
use-
then.
So I use the PC layout, and it doesn't have like Control Alt and that kind of keys. It just has.
Okay, interesting.
I mean, it does have all the other keys, and that's why I use it. Like it has like the brackets and when you hit Shift, like all the keys become what they would be with Shift on a PC keyboard. But it doesn't have. But Shift is the only thing on there. There's no Control or Alt.
So one other editor I will float, and I discovered that it existed for Android about 3 hours ago. Has anyone come across Joplin?
Well, about Joplin, I was talking with Karine last week. Said we should really help them make it more accessible, but we didn't start it already. So how do you like it so far?
I mean, it's usable, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure it
Yeah,
could be better.
It's pretty okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a markdown editor, isn't it? So you can do quite a lot of formatting, like if you want to code HTML and stuff, which not necessarily want to do on the phone, but it supports. You can sync. You know, it will sync with its own Joplin service, or it will sync with OneDrive and Dropbox.
So on their Mastodon profile, they were saying that they are looking for visually impaired Android users to help them with their apps.
Yeah.
So guys, if you get some time, send them your feedback within the app. Just install Joplin note-taking app. It's a large app in terms of size, but it has a lot of promising features. And if they become accessible, they'll be a really nice alternative.
But we shouldn't overstate how. Like it's not inaccessible, but you can use it. You can write notes on it. Like it's not like cluttered with unlabeled buttons. It could be better. There's a slightly weird thing where a new note button shows, but it won't work until you expand and add a new button near the bottom of the screen. So there's some quirky UI things they've got, but you can read notes. Deleting text, as we've discussed before, like it will echo, but randomly it will seem to stop deleting at the end of a line. I haven't quite worked out why yet. Sorry, at the start of a line, you delete backwards. But you can create a note, you can read your notes, you can edit your notes, you can sync your notes. It all kind of works. Like it could be better, but it's not. Like we've demonstrated more problematic apps than Joplin, I think, haven't we?
I think some of the problems that we have with some of these editors is that they're not just simple editors. They have other things in there, like, embedding pictures or videos and things like that. And it's usually this part that becomes inaccessible to us. But the basics, most of them are just straightforward and maybe just with a little quirk or two. But the main basics is oftentimes usable. So I have it. I haven't been playing with it much, to be honest, but I have too many editors, and I'm always wanting to try something new. But my finding is that usually it's all those embedding of other items that are a problem to us, but not the basic note taking.
Yeah.
You know what's the worst text editor on Android? Gmail.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. If you have
I
the same,
love it.
Exactly.
It is
it's
absolutely
not
bad.
stable
Yes.
at all. It's crazy.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's even better with Aquamail, isn't it, Ed?
Yeah.
Oh, there's no comparison here. I mean, I don't use Aquamail, but I use Gmail. But frankly, Gmail, they need to fix it. It's been a long-standing problem, and it amazes me that we're in 2025 and we're still talking about Gmail not being all
I hate to admit it, but when I'm using Gmail on my phone, I literally go to Simple Text Editor, type my email there, then I copy it, go back to email, paste, and send. Like I don't even bother.
Yeah.
Like I know I'm going to spend more time trying to get it to work in email.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. But I mean,
Aquamail has its quirks.
yeah, but I mean, Gmail. I mean, everybody uses Gmail, right? You would think that this is where Google would actually help us, but nah, it seems like no one cares about what happens when it comes to using the screen reader. I mean, don't misunderstand us, guys. We're not saying that it's bad or anything, but the problem is just the editing is not good. I mean, it's so I don't know how to even put it. It's
We sort of
bad,
are
and so
saying it's
I
bad.
don't blame John
Yeah.
for
We
doing it
kind of
in
are.
it, whatever, and bringing it over.
Yeah, it's just it does weird things. Like you'll think the cursor is someplace, and you'll start typing, and then when you go to
Exactly.
review it, like it'll be at the end of the field or something. And
Yeah.
another odd thing is like when you delete characters, it doesn't say what it should say, and it just says things wrong. It's weird.
Yeah. Facebook Messenger does that edit box. You're not where you should be when you type thing as well. That will put you in all sorts of random places, which is very
It's
annoying.
crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But
Hmm.
yeah, so we got problems like that. Of course, if you don't mind spending time to figure it out, then you could. But I mean, you could find those little workarounds like we've mentioned earlier. But I think most people just want to pick up and go rather than spending time on trying to find a little workaround.
Yeah.
Well, with
This-
email, you have alternatives, but with word processor, you don't have. I tried dozens of Office suites, and nothing was really able to work as it should. So actually, email, no problem. Maybe you could use Thunderbird, you could use Aqua, you could use whatever you want, but there are a lot of alternatives. But with document processor, don't try, because at least for me, I couldn't find anything that I could rely on.
I don't use it, but has anyone tried OneNote?
OneNote is not too bad. However, there are problems. Like I said, a lot of these things are not primarily intended for like the touch screen. And, talking about that, OneNote, for example, if you go in and you choose a text, for example, what I noticed, and I don't remember if it was in OneNote or is it in Microsoft Word, if you choose to use a text note instead, if you move your finger up and down the screen, you hear it making this sound. Like I can't even explain, and it's so annoying, and I can't believe that Microsoft has not corrected this. It's been like that for years, and every update I keep hoping something else has changed, and nothing has changed. So frankly, I don't use OneNote anymore. I don't.
So did you guys use Evernote?
I have Evernote, but I don't use it either.
Yeah.
You like it, Sally?
Well, they were pretty much unusable in my opinion.
I thought maybe it was making your tea, and I'm like, well, pour me
No,
some
no,
of
no.
that.
No. I mean, if you're looking for something good, just go for Simplenote. Definitely good app that you demoed a couple of weeks ago. That's amazing.
And this is what we're talking about, because a lot of these things, have their focus elsewhere, and it's those areas that become just inaccessible to us, and it's not working. I hate to, touch something and I'm not knowing what it is. I have to tab on it to find out. Come on, it's no bueno.
Yeah, but I want to clarify something. There is no real problem with note takers or even simple text editing. The problem is in serious word processing, like when you're trying to deal with a Word document, for example. Here lies the problem. But with note taking, you'll find good applications. Even Keep is usable, sort of, but actually with what I was trying to say about the thing that you won't find like a good app for is word processing.
And Sally, just going back to Joplin, did they get in touch with you via Accessible Android? How did you find out they were after blind people to help them?
I saw somebody is boosting their totem Mastodon, so that's how I came to know about they are looking for testers. So they
Nice.
didn't contact me at all. Maybe we should instead.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Definitely worth feeding back because they could fix that. Some of their little quirks.
An honorable mention, which is the Office suite that Microsoft has created, the Microsoft Office. Because if you want the worst editor, you have to use Microsoft Office.
It's claps loud and clear. Exactly, Karine.
Oh boy!
And now the find which used to work when you're viewing a document and you're trying to find something, it used to work. It wasn't that reliable. It used to work. Now it's completely broken. The last time I tried it, I was like about to throw my phone because I wasn't able to find what I wanted to find.
It sounds more like a dishonorable mention to me.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm talking about. They're not paying attention to the touchscreen, and especially for those of us who are blind. And here's what bothers me, though: all of these companies have, we have the accessibility department and all of that good stuff. Yeah, sounds good on paper, but why in the world, or why in the name of Sam Hill, are you not fixing these things? Most especially those of you in the accessibility departments of these companies, I'm talking to you. You know where the pain points are. Why are we not fixing this?
Warren, I want to talk about an experience that I had with Microsoft disability support. Well, a while ago, maybe a few years ago, there was a problem when you try to open a document with TalkBack. It used to crash the app completely. So this was a terrible problem, and I was like, okay, what's the deal? I could just go and report this to Microsoft. So I was chatting, I think, with the representative, and I told them, yeah, this is an accessibility problem. They were like, okay, but we can't do anything about it. You have to send the feedback in the app itself. I was like, okay, but this is an accessibility issue. It's something very serious. It's not something like it's not something that you could ignore. And you are the accessibility people. You are the disability support. And they were like, no, we can't do anything about it. So I don't know why do they have the disability support, which should actually be for everything related to Microsoft, even the Android apps. So yeah, and the issue continued for months. I think literally they were like few months before they were able to fix it. But yeah, now we have our issues, but at least it doesn't crash.
So that's what I'm talking about. If you're working in the accessibility area, my thinking, and maybe I'm an idiot, maybe I'm stupid, maybe I don't really understand what's going on, but my thinking is that, so we're talking about accessibility, and I'm not trying to be selfish here, because accessibility is not just about us, the blind, but I mean in general. But you would think that you should have someone in there that pays attention to what happens with your products, especially for those using screen readers, for example. So you got representatives that test your product with screen readers, and others test it with maybe magnifiers or whatever, and things of that nature. And it shouldn't be that you and I are finding these things out and telling them, and then they're telling you, oh, you should report it in the app or whatever, blah blah blah. What are they then doing if you can't reproduce something as simple as this and find it out? Then frankly, I think all these departments, of course, my never to be humble opinion, a total joke.